Hello my beautiful creative souls, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I'm excited to be bringing you today my December updates and favorites. Normally people do favorites at the end of the month, but I like to do them at the beginning of the month looking back because I'd like the whole month to think about it. I used to do a rendition of this called Journal Updates on my Patreon, and since I have let that go to bring in the new membership, which I will be announcing mid-December, so make sure you're tuned into the email list so you don't miss that. But I thought it would be fun to adapt them to my new style, as I know they were definitely some of my favorite videos to make and my patrons' favorite videos to watch. So I'm going to flip you around, show you some of my favorites, books I've been reading, decks I've been using the most recently, and kind of show you where I'm at in my journals and my setup and my plans for the coming month. Okay, so let's get into it. Right here on the top, I have kind of the deck I worked with the most in November. This is the Work Your Light Oracle cards, and I really enjoy these, especially when I'm working through personal work or starting some type of new project, going on a new venture. I'm still working on, a lot of inner work to do with the changing of my business, and of course I was going on that trip to Texas, and there were a lot of kind of firsts that I was working through with that, and just different kind of life choices and like putting yourself out there and doing the work on you. If you're really kind of struggling with that inner kind of guidance and you're just looking for a little like reassurance from the universe, a little pat on the back, a little high five from your guides, or a little pointer at kind of like at the reason you might be kind of like feeling what you're feeling, even if you aren't quite sure what the source is, this is a great deck for that. So this is by Rebecca Campbell. I really enjoy, she has this deck and the Starseed Oracle. I enjoy both of them, but for some reason this was the one that I picked. These cards have made it onto kind of my vision boards before. Sometimes I'll leave them on my altar, but it's just a really overall great deck. It's one I come to again and again. I've had it for quite a while. I also appreciate that this particular version has yeses and nos in it, so that can be really helpful when those come up. If you're kind of wondering about something and just like, just do it. Just do it. So yeah, that was kind of the deck that I worked with the most in November. I thought that'd be something a little fun to share with you there. Rolling right into that, these are the 4 books that I spent the most time with in November. I personally read multiple books at once. I probably have about 10 going at the same time, but these were the ones that kind of got the most airtime in sessions during November. They're all fairly new to my collection, and it's kind of funny if you flip them up this way. You can see I'm pretty much like a quarter of the way through all of them. So if I had just stuck to one book, I probably would have finished a book in November, but it's just the way I read. So the first one that I enjoyed quite a bit during November was Australia Taylor's Intuitive Witchcraft book. This is a really fun book on just talking about the different topics to witchcraft in general, and really capitalizes on not following a specific path. So it's not like a Wiccan book at all. It's just about the basics of witchcraft and choosing your own path and allowing yourself to not have to subscribe to any rules, which is like my thing. So that's why I wanted to pick this up. A lot of stuff in here that I've gone through so far. Obviously the first part is basics, so it's just more of a review for me. So I'm excited to get further into it and see what she has for the more intermediate advanced levels. But so far I'm really loving it, and I really wanted to pick it up just because I feel like it aligns with my philosophy on not only witchcraft, but life in general. So that's been a fun read. This was a read that I did on the airplane. What is in here? Oh, Journal Life. I saved my chip bag from the plane because it's so itty bitty and cute. Okay, I picked this up to read on the airplane. I don't usually read things like this, but I thought this would be like an easy, interesting read. It's called Gently Haunted by Corinne Kenner. It's true stories from a haunted antique shop. So they're just like super easily digestible, short little stories with photos in it. And when you flip to certain pages and read like a little story, it's pretty boring. But I found when you do start from the beginning, the author does a really good job of like weaving them all into each other. And it makes more sense and is actually quite entertaining, but again, easily digestible. And nothing in here is like they're not like intense poltergeist hauntings or anything. It's just kind of like friendly ghosts in her tales of buying and owning an antique shop as a writer and somebody who reads tarot. So that's a really fun read that I'm working on. Another book that I just started more recently, actually in the past week or so, is this Past Lives in Ancient Lands in Other Worlds by Shelley A. Gayer? I'm terrible with names. Don't come at me. But this has been an interesting book so far. Past lives is always something that I've been interested in, and I've dabbled in it here and there. Been feeling more called to it lately to work on in my personal work, so I thought this would be a fun one to pick up. I pre-ordered this. It's fairly new. I pre-ordered it from Leanne. I haven't really gotten into any of the past life stuff per se. It's just kind of like an overview of things, and she walks you through, you know, the basics, meditating, meeting your guides, things like that. Again, I'm still on like the beginner stuff, but I'm excited to dive in deeper. It seems to be a book where she melds other people's stories with historical fact and then exercises for you to possibly explore in case you feel like that's something that you might have experienced in a past lifetime through reading these. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I was a little skeptical at first, but it's definitely one I'm looking forward to continuing reading. And then last but not least, we have Psychic Witch. This book was gifted to me and it's been on my wish list for a while. I've been working through it very slowly. I feel like this is more of an exercise book. Again, the author shares kind of my view on witchcraft and choosing a path and like doing your own thing. So he just kind of takes you through the basics, and most of this is very like the basics of melding psychic work with witchcraft, as the title suggests. And a lot of it is just exercises. There aren't that many blurbs, at least yet, informational blurbs. Most of it is kind of exercises that you work through. So I'm doing it slowly, kind of picking it up when I feel inspired to, but so far it's been a really fun book to work through. Let me move my chip bag out of the way. So yeah, those were my kind of reads, or most read books in November. I know that's kind of weird to say, but again, it's how I read. So let me know what your favorite decks and books of the month of November were below. I'd love to hear and check them out. All right, moving on to the fan favorite. We have my personal journal. Most people would call this a book of shadows of sorts, but to me, it's just my personal journal. I started this new one in November. I previously, from January to the end of October, was in this one, which was a Taroko design A5 dot grid Tomoe River paper notebook that I cut down and did like a vision board on. So that baby has retired. And I have now moved into this one. This is a notebook that I got from Anna. She has a bunch of different like sizes and styles with her art on the cover. So that's what this is. This is her cover art minus the welcome sticker. I put the welcome sticker on there. So everything else on there is hers. And I went ahead and set it up for myself. I knew that I'd be taking this traveling, so I did kind of some protection stuff. I just set up the journal how I usually do, write a little kind of introduction thank you letter, glued some stuff in, pulled a couple cards to kind of represent the journal and where I'm headed with it. And yeah, I'm just kind of building this up. This is a little flap here, and then we have November, so just kind of like a little decoration. And then I'm not going to show you any of the inside because it is quite private, but sometimes I do a little pre-decorating. In the pages, I just like glue random things in. I stuck like a random quote in there. So I do need to set up December, but yeah, that was November. I've already ordered my book to start next in January because I'm working on setting up my 2023 setup or figuring it out. So I'm sure I will show you that at some point. But that's my personal journal. If you want to hear more about like what goes into this, because I know I didn't really show you, I'll leave a card linked above where I talked about my magical journals. And if you watch that video, I talk all about how I journal in this particular journal. And then in here, I just have my year ahead card spread that I did for 2022, which was actually a surprising experience. So if you'd like to hear about that, let me know, and I might do kind of an updated version on that before I do my one for next year. But I'll just keep that in the back of whatever personal journal I'm working on at the moment. And I just have this in a Moterm A5 cover. It doesn't quite fit, but I just love this cover so much, and I'm really not into the A5 size at the moment. I seem to either like standard moleskin size or half letter. And of course, you know, half letter is too big for the A5, but that's neither here nor there. So that's my personal journal. We are losing light fast here, so if it kind of goes wonky, I do apologize. But this is my kind of half New Year setup, half remnants of November. So in here I have myself a fresh copy of the Manifesting Magic This Year guide by Heather Mattern. I used this last year. This is all about finding your word or theme of the year and things. And I really enjoyed the process of kind of going through that. I don't utilize everything that she does for her word, but she definitely has some great ideas in here, and I really enjoyed working through all the questions. I was going to just go through my one from last year, which I wrote in, and pull out the questions, but I just like having, I don't know, I like having the book and like marking in it and like scribbling and doing all the things. So I got myself a fresh copy of that. I am still forever reworking this intuitive life planner that I've been working on. I always think I'm on the last rendition of it, and then I find a new way to rework it. So this is kind of my playing with a monthly insert version of that I printed myself. So here's kind of my December calendar. I can show you that because I haven't put any of the secret things in there yet, I don't think. But yeah, I'm toying with the idea of doing more of a memory keeping journaling thing along inside the planning pieces, because I tend to not really care about all of these like to-do tasks afterwards. But I also then kind of, after I decided that, dove back into my personal journal. So who knows? But these are just two inserts that I put together for myself with some kind of card reading pages and notes pages and things. So that's that. And I'm debating on going the insert route coupled with a companion book for my 2023 planner setup, which I'll of course share more about when that actually happens. But that's kind of what I'm leaning towards at the moment. I started making my 2023 year ahead card spread layout thing. So that's kind of in here as I work on it. And then this was a test copy of, again, the intuitive life planner that I've been working on. I kind of went ahead and used this version for November and then came up with the brilliant idea that I think I'm going to move forward with. So I'm still using, there are pages in the back of this, so I'm still using this for like planning and mapping out ideas and things, but I'm not using the actual like planner portion of it. I'm using the insert instead. So lots of things in the works, but that's kind of my like in progress setup for 2023. We'll see how much that changes. I'm always changing, so let's be real. And then last but not least, my creative journal. Oh, one side note to mention, I have been obsessed with this thing. I literally have no idea where this came from. Probably like the Dollar Tree or something. My sister Grace got it for me for my bridal shower, and she gave it to me filled with these Paper Mate Inkjoy gel pens, which have been pretty much what I've been using exclusively, not only in my planner, but also in my written journal, because I'm using a journal right now that doesn't work with fountain pen ink. It's been really fun to literally just pull out a color and write, and they're just so smooth and buttery, and I love how they like feel in my hand, and I like that I can literally pick up any color and you can see the ink on the page, which is really nice. And they're in this cute little stinking coffin, and I just can't, so it's so cute. So that's been a huge favorite. Okay, and then last but not least, my creative journal here. So I finally got a couple of our like first look photo shoot photos back from the photographer, so I kind of stuck that in the front there of me and Chris. Here's one of those cards from the deck that I showed you, the Work Your Light. I put this in here way back in the summer, but I thought that was fun. So I've just been working through, as I always do, adding little bits here and there. Again, adding, you know, photos from the wedding. I worked a little bit on some journaling. I got interrupted while I was doing that, so I'll have to go back. But just kind of filling in gaps. In case you are new here, my style of creative journaling is like scrapbooking meets art journaling meets smash booking meets, you know, everything. Collage, stickers, photos. It's kind of my jam. So I just throw everything into one and build these books. This is a journal I made myself. I love when things are super interactive, and I don't really put pressure on myself. I just kind of do it whenever. So I have a whole bucket of things here that are like waiting to go in, and as well as things that I'm collecting for my 2023 vision board. This is where I'm at with this. This is a spread I did recently all about my 29th birthday, which was in November. I don't do things chronologically, so you'll see like this is summer, and then Halloween, and then November and my birthday, and then we'll go backwards in time. This was from September and then October, summer. Like it's just all, it's in 2022, so I'm just like putting it all in there. I recently did a bunch of videos talking about the benefits of being behind in your journal and what you can do to catch up. So if you're behind in your journal and you're like, what the heck is this lady doing? Definitely check out those videos to get a little bit more insight into that. But this is kind of where I'm at with that. I would like to try and put in most of the things from 2022 and kind of get those in here so that I can have like a fresh start, because I know if I get too far behind, especially once we do something like turn a corner of a year or change seasons, then I'm usually kind of over it, and the rest of the stuff doesn't get put in. So I would like to at least get the photos stuck down, but we'll see what happens. No pressure, right? No pressure. Plus I have 8 bajillion, quadrillion other things to do. So that, my friends, are my updates and plans for December. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video. What are your favorites for November? You know, decks, journals, books, whatever tickles your fancy to talk about, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I know that it is valuable, and I will see you guys again soon. Take care, guys.